In cement production, higher speed means more efficiency. The faster you fill, the more you produce and the lower your costs. We wanted to find out which sack fills faster. The paper sack or the woven polypropylene sack? CEPI Eurokraft conducted a lab test with flush-cut valve sacks of both types. The results show that paper sacks fill 21% faster than WPP sacks. But why is that so? The key advantage of paper sacks is their natural porosity. High-porous paper sacks allow the air to escape rapidly during filling. If you are looking for high-speed filling and efficiency, choose paper sacks. Filling and handling cement always involves minor product losses, but the type of packaging makes a big difference. Which sack performs better, the paper sack or the woven polypropylene sack? First, we measured cement losses during filling under identical conditions. Then, we dropped both sacks 5 times from 90 centimeters to simulate typical handling and transport processes. The result? Cement losses from filling and handling were 4 times higher for woven polyethylene sacks compared to paper sacks. More cement loss means higher production and cleaning costs, increased maintenance and reduced efficiency. It also leads to more dust exposure, affecting worker health and safety and increasing environmental impact. Thanks to their natural porosity, paper sacks allow the air to escape without perforations, keeping the cement where it belongs. Choose paper sacks for a more efficient, cost-effective, and sustainable future. Cement filling inevitably creates dust. Minimizing dust exposure is essential, not just for workers' health, but also for productivity. Which sack is the better choice, the paper sack or the woven polypropylene sack? In a lab test, an accredited laboratory measured the dust particles released when filling 50 kilograms of cement. They analyzed 2 particle sizes, PM10, which are fine dust particles with a diameter below 10 micrometers. They can irritate the skin, eyes, nose, and throat, affecting both the skin and the upper respiratory tract. And PM2.5, these are smaller particles with a diameter below 2.5 micrometers. These are even more dangerous as they can penetrate deep into the lungs and trigger coughing, asthma, and lung inflammation. The result? Filling WPP sacks generated 3 times higher levels of PM10 dust and twice as high levels of PM2.5 dust compared to paper sacks.
Cement dust is corrosive to all our body surfaces. 2 square meters skin, our eyes, and 140 square meters lungs and airways. During work, we inhale and filter 1,000 liters of air per hour. Irritation through cement dust causes inflammation, pain, and higher sickness levels. Studies show even higher rates of depression, anxiety, and stress in workers who are exposed to high levels of cement dust. Therefore, every input for clean air through reducing dust is a benefit for your workers and your company.
Thanks to their natural porosity, paper sacks allow the air to escape without perforations, keeping even the smallest cement particles inside. Choose paper sacks to reduce dust, enable a cleaner working environment, and improve productivity. For cement producers, sustainability is becoming increasingly important. Reducing fossil carbon emissions is not just about regulations. It also helps to reduce costs, improve efficiency, and strengthen a brand's image. Choosing the right packaging can make a difference. Which sack is the better environmental choice, the paper sack or the woven polypropylene sack? A comparative carbon footprint study by the research institute RISE has the answer. It investigated paper sacks and WPP sacks for cement in 4 specific countries: Ivory Coast, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Indonesia, each representing a respective market. It follows a cradle-to-filler outgate approach which looks at the entire process, from producing all raw materials via transporting them to the sack plant, converting them into sacks and delivering the sacks to fillers, filling them with cement and palletizing the filled sacks for further distribution. The result? Even though the sackcraft paper for paper sacks is produced in Europe and transported to the 4 markets for conversion, paper sacks still have a lower environmental footprint. In every market studied, The fossil GHG emissions from WPP sacks were almost double those of paper sacks. When including the average cement loss during filling and handling, the environmental gap between paper sacks and WPP sacks increases even further. Higher cement losses mean additional emissions and increased costs. The conclusion is clear: paper sacks are the environmentally superior choice. Choose paper sacks to reduce your carbon footprint and your costs. Make the switch today.